Good morning. Good morning, and welcome to the Saturday Papers. How are we all? Welcome if you're listening on podcast. I hope you're all well. Morning, Martin Smith, Steph Schultz, Gloria Chesham. It's Saturday. It's a fresh, it's a zingy, it's a sharp, it's like a crisp Granny Smith apple, the weather. It's nice, it's fresh, and it's and it's raw. And Nadia's doing yoga, and I'm not. So I hope you're all well. We're going to run through the papers. What a strange collection of headlines we've got today, hey? What a strange collection. A sort of revisiting, in some cases, of what we've been talking about in the week. But we're going to touch upon briefly. We're going to touch upon the fact that Netanyahu. Even the Americans are beginning to describe him as a liability. Even America's using the phrase a pariah state. So we haven't got much on that because, of course, there isn't much in the papers, which in and of itself tells you everything you need to know. So the top headline on that story, for those of you who are interested or have been following this, Netanyahu has given the green light to a Rafah attack plan as an aid ship starts to reach Gaza. So rather than forcing Israel into doing a more than reasonable thing of letting actual trucks in, and because they're all there, they've had to send a ship, I think it's Spanish-funded, Spanish-run, from Cyprus. And as that ship comes in, Netanyahu is planning his assault on Rafah. So that is in essence the story. So we're rapidly approaching a red line, and it'll be interesting to see that really Netanyahu is becoming more and more isolated. He's creating a bigger and bigger problem for Israel as a nation, because as Chuck Schumer said, the highest Jewish American politician, there's the risk that Israel becomes a pariah state. So yeah, it's a tricky situation. But anyway, yeah, look, we've got a happy birthday to Kerry, and we have a happy birthday to B. Happy birthday, both of you. So moving on from that, this story is just so, it's just awful. This is the story of the funeral directors, or the funeral. I sort of almost don't want to use that phrase. It sounds too official for something that clearly wasn't that official. So this is the story of the funeral directors, at which 35 bodies have been taken or are being sort of examined, having to go through. This is the part that we were talking about in the week, having to be re-identified. Imagine going through the trauma and upset of losing someone, and then going through all of the emotional awfulness of burying them or cremating them, and then not knowing for certain whether it's them or not. Nicola Randall, it is horrendous. But this story here is a widow who is scared that Norman's body, her husband's body, isn't in the plot that it was in. So of course she wants to be buried alongside him. So she's now she's fearful that she could be buried next to a stranger. She says, Rita Gold Spink says, "Who knows who I will be buried with? It might not even be my husband. Where is he?" And there's another story here. Deceased and desist. Arrests made, though they have been released on bail. 35 bodies left out to rot. Urns full of wrong ashes. Debts of 62,000. And now the British FBI are involved. As it says up here, a regulation campaigner, anyone can set up a funeral business online and charge £950 for cremations without even owning premises. I mean, good God, what is going on? I'm just seeing there, Rachel. Thank you so much. You DM'd Otter stuff, but your Insta isn't taking messages. It should be. I'll have a look. It's possibly gone into the DMs section. Isn't it shocking? It's just so distressing and so upsetting. I don't know. It's grisly and it's emotionally complicated. It's like all standards of humanity, says Anna Marie Shellard, have just effed off to another universe. I know what you mean. There's a sort of, you know what? I mean, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I'm beginning to wonder whether Is something happening to humans where our sort of empathetic, humanistic capacity is becoming less and less and less? It's like sometimes I imagine in my sort of idle moments, I look out the window and I think, if I was sat opposite Rishi Sunak and I really wanted to get him to sort of share his feelings about something, he might end up being incredibly like the chap in Married at First Sight. Wow, what a day, and all that kind of stuff. But no real feeling. Where's the feelings gone? Desensitizing, says Edward Bevington. Yeah, I mean, again, if this, without regulation, we found this one funeral directors, how many other funeral directors could this be happening with? I mean, let's not beat around the bush. Have we all now not just paused? I have, about my nan. Have we not all just kind of paused for a moment and asked the question, do we know? How do we know? Nicola Randall, let's share your thought. Exactly. I took it in faith that my grandparents' ashes were returned to the family. To think that this could have happened is shocking and upsetting. And I don't think it's self-orientated to be thinking, I think I'm doing a kind of inventory of each point, because me and Nanny Di were responsible for Nanny Thelma's funeral and cremation. You sort of stop and you think, hang on a minute, when did we see her? When did we say goodbye? Do you know what I mean? Hilary Daly, in France, there are open coffins at the funeral parlour, which family and friends visit before the burial service. That would solve this. You see, we were offered that, which is what makes us not so concerned. But we decided we didn't want to. And then a number of an Irish follower was saying that having a wake is another way of knowing who you're saying farewell to. Suke, so many weird things seem to be happening in the world. It's as if some people's minds have been taken over by some evil force. People seem to have lost their moral compass. I agree. It's the in plain sightness of it all, isn't it? It's the in plain sightness. It's also the fact that people aren't seeing it. That's as worrying as it happening. This sort of lack of humanity. Okay, so that's that tragic story. This story is everywhere. Billy Piper, co-parenting with my ex, Lawrence Fox, is extremely difficult. And I'd be lying if I didn't say I have had, at times, the curious thought of, God, how difficult must it be for Billy Piper that Lawrence Fox runs around sort of spouting all the stuff that he does. Now, of course, freedom of speech and everything. I'm sure there may be some people who watch this. Who support perhaps some of his thoughts but he's irrational, he's rogue, he's difficult. And as she says in an interview here, she said, it's in Vogue magazine, she says, co-parenting with my ex, Lawrence Fox, is extremely difficult. She said, she added, I try to keep people from telling me stuff, but it's really, really hard. I don't read it, but everyone wants to talk about it. Sometimes I have to say to people, please don't bring this to me now or ever. Of course I have feelings on that. I'm not dead inside. And of course they have children together, so it's very difficult. He was an actor, Cass. I think he was in Inspector Morse or whatever. What was the spin-off from Inspector Morse? I think he was in that. Yeah, he's an actor. The Foxes are actors, fabulous actors. Freddy Fox is in The Gentleman, briefly. Bit of a, oh God, I forgot about oh God, if you saw Coffee Moaning yesterday, you'll know what I'm talking about. He's the, me too, nice simple description. He's the misogynist on GB News. Absolutely. Dian Abbott, the story sort of keeps rumbling. Here's an interesting fact. Danny fucking Price on Instagram has suggested that Starmer, oh God, he's a tricky customer, Starmer. He said he'll let Dian Abbott come back to the Labour Party, i.e. she'll be given the whip, and that sounds weird, it's a phrase in politics where she's essentially a member of the Labour Party again, as long as she promises not to run at the next election. You can't say there's enough of a reason for her to come back, but with the condition that she doesn't run again. Well, I think that's shocking. Anyway, a couple of stories here. Starmer accused of double standards in the Dian Abbott case. We talked about this a bit yesterday. Labour's refusal to allow Dian Abbott back into the party has been described as double standards as pressure is mounting on Sir Keir to restore the whip. But as I say, I think behind the scenes, if what Danny fucking Price on Instagram is reporting is true, it sounds like he's offered her it, but with the caveat. And what do we say about caveats here? Share with us. What do we say? We say, fuck caveats. Yeah. But there's a really good and important piece by Charlene White in the Eye. Abuse is a daily reality for a black woman with an opinion. You know, I said it yesterday, I'll say it again. You know, the fact that our government can gyrate and squirm around the definition of the awful language that this party donor used and twist and turn around the idea of whether it's racist or not is so insulting to every black woman in this country, and actually speaks to the truth of what, in a sense, Dian Abbott was removed from the Labour Party for saying, which is it is more obviously immediate racism towards black people than it is towards Jewish people, because you can see the colour of their skin. I mean, it's a simple fact. That's not an anti-Semitic comment. Anyway, frustrating. Another detail here as well. I was listening on the radio early this morning. They were saying that if you are a donor and you give the Conservative Party a minimum of £3 million, it buys you a place in the House of Lords. Democracy. What? Yeah, who said that? Whatever you think of her as a politician, DT, I haven't agreed with everything she said. She doesn't deserve what's happened to her. I haven't read the full piece because it's in the magazine, but there's a photograph here of Cait Jenner. I can imagine this is going to cause all sorts of a to-do. She's interviewed by Olympiad or former Olympiad or fellow Olympiad, in fact, of course, Sharon Davies in the Telegraph magazine, and she claims trans women are not women. This is going to be contentious. She's a trans woman. I have to still say, I'm not entirely sure why one can't quite fiercely protect the definition of a trans woman versus the definition of a woman. I don't understand. I don't understand why we can't do that. So, debate. Cara, this story is awful. I only pulled the story because we rarely hear of it happening. And whenever we talk about these things, it's often said, well, yes, domestic abuse more predominantly, more often than not, happens from a man to a woman, coercive control, etc. But this is a story, Sher Spencer. She was jailed for 4 years last year for her controlling and coercive behaviour. And the judge said it's the worst he's ever seen. But some of the nanny cam footage has been released. But look at that. What's that? Sorry, just 1 second. Okay, cheerio. Swearing is absolutely allowed on YouTube films when your settings are for 18 or plus. So there we go. Sharon, yeah, that's a good point. Just going back to the previous story, Sharon, they're not women, but I would treat them as women. Yeah, to be treated as women, but to be identified as a trans woman, I think is both respectful to the trans woman, but it's also respectful to women too. So anyway, going back to this, these are some of the images of that coercive control. Beat him with a bottle, standing with a knife. So yeah, wow, quite shocking. We do like to be beside the seaside. Sorry, my stories have gone awry. Where is this story? We do like to be beside the sea. Oh, where is it? We do like to be beside the seaside, or is it over here? Have I already got it? Have I already done it? Oh, clean bum. Well, you can see this. This is the story that. Let me find it. Let me find it. Let me find it. I've got Cara Delevingne. I thought I'd put these in the wrong order. How annoying. But this is the favourite places to live in Britain. Overall winner is North Berwick. In London, it's Clerkenwell. Weird. The only thing I know about Clerkenwell is where the Guardian's based. Stockport in the northwest. Do any of you guys live here? Folkestone in the southeast. North and northeast Leeds. I kind of understand that. I'm just going to go for my tea because the coffee is disgusting. Yeah. But North Berwick, I've never been. Never been. So let's move on to this one. What's this one? Here we go. Now, for any of you Oscar fans here, you'll know that the Zone of Interest was the film about Auschwitz. It won Best International Picture. The director, Jonathan Glazer, huge admirer of his work, did Sexy Beast, Under the Skin. He gave a speech essentially saying we disavow our Jewishness. He's a Jewish filmmaker. Well, he's Jewish. And he said, we are against the hijacking of the Holocaust to justify the occupation. Now, this is interesting because one of the guys who was the producer of this, which was why I was hesitant and worried when I responded to the trailer, when I did the review, and in my review of the film, I was saying, look, I really hope this film can be used as an opportunity to draw parallels between the awfulness of then and the awfulness of now in Gaza. The director essentially spoke to this, which was refreshing and a relief as well, because obviously, making a huge egalitarian use of the film. But I was worried because I know that Danny Cohen, who's one of the producers of the film, former director of BBC Television, I had the great privilege of meeting him many times and being in many meetings and frustrated by him somewhat. He's Jewish. Danny Cohen is one of the executive producers. And he is also has been an ardent supporter of the Israeli policy in Gaza. And so, of course, there's a conflict here. He's the president of Access Entertainment, and he told a podcast that he feels that Glazer's comments have upset a lot of people, and he understands the anger. So the director has even upset one of his own executive producers. I totally disagree. I think it's important. And I think we are in a situation here where there's that phrase, isn't there? Hurt people. And I think we are in danger of, or have been in danger of, that happening for quite a while in the Gaza crisis. Cara Delevingne, poor old Cara Delevingne, her £5.5 million mansion has been destroyed in a fire, but thankfully her cats have survived. She's been left distraught after a fire ripped through her home. I saw this break last night. Inferno at Cara Mansion. You can see it's been upped to 6 million there in the Mirror, I think. There was relief when she learnt that her two beloved white Persian cats had been found alive. She's in the UK making a West End stage debut, and she appeared on stage last night. And she said, "My heart is broken today" on Instagram. "I cannot believe it. Life can change in a blink of an eye." Absolutely. Remember that phrase? Remember that phrase? Well, you probably don't remember that phrase because I shared it with you. I think J.G. Ballard said it. Life is all about set dressing. And I bet no one feels that more keenly than the Palestinians in Gaza. Your mission, should you choose to accept it, is fly across the M25 Shut between junction 10 and 11. I thought this was a nicer way. The M25 is going to be closed, parts of it, which is the M25, if you don't know it, is the ring road around, or ring motorway around London. It's a fucking nightmare to drive on. It's horrendous. It's always slow. Even when you can go at the normal, national speed limit, it's only 30. Well, no, it's not, it's 50. But this could be a scene. So this is Tom Cruise airlifting himself and his crew. Does anything stop this man getting on a helicopter and hanging off it? I wonder if he flew onto set hanging off the kind of landing bar. Could be a scene from one of his films, reports The Sun. He's flying in the cast and crew while chaos unfolds underneath. Wow, I mean, they should turn it into a virtue, really. I can't even begin to imagine. Yes, Dawny Harvey, M25 is the biggest car park I know. Absolutely agree. But yet, so this is going to cause bedlam in the surrounding area. But Tom, just grab a helicopter, grab a chopper, and fly in. Look at this. Karaoke inventor dies at 100, suggesting that singing along badly will help you live for a long, ripe old age. Japanese entrepreneur Shigeichi Negishi had an epiphany back in the day when, and it was all thanks to his terrible voice. His daughter said yesterday he felt a lot of pride in seeing his idea evolve into a culture of having fun through song around the world. Who likes karaoke? Do you like karaoke? I'm going to, Freya, I'm going to be buried under an oak tree back in good old England. Bless you, Freya. Sending you love, sweetheart. Oh, Dawny, I'm pleased you got your doorknobs. Well done. Anyone here? Can I be honest? The whole idea of karaoke makes me want to copiously sweat from my armpits. I mean, I don't understand. It has to be a drunk thing, right? And they weren't really in when I was drinking. Take care, Richard. You love karaoke. What is it about? It strikes me as it's an. I mean, I'm being a killjoy purposefully, so shoot me down. But isn't it an opportunity for people who can sing badly to just indulge singing badly? And why would you want to hear that? Why do you want to listen to someone singing badly? You love it. Oh, Ellery, you love it. I just can't do it. And they do it in tiny little rooms, don't they? So it becomes almost like a lap dance thing. It's weird. When lived in Hong Kong, the Chinese loved it. I don't get it. But anyway, the inventor has died. Brain frog? Fucking hell, it's already hit me. Brain frog from COVID can lead to a fall in IQ. This is interesting. Catching COVID can make you less intelligent, with severe infections reducing your IQ, they say, by about 9 points. Brain fog. Britons who avoid the disease typically perform better in intelligence tests, while those who ended up in hospital scored worse. Oh, guys, do you feel anyone who's had COVID, do you feel well, I don't know how to put it bluntly, do you feel you're thicker than you were before? So many things I'm beginning to wonder what the hell is going on in the world, guys. Where is Nanny Di? Nanny Di is at home. She's not feeling particularly brilliant, but she's okay. I spoke to her yesterday. She was texting loads about the garden. Yes, Kaz Rally, do you feel a bit, I just desperately want this coffee, but I can't. Excuse me for a minute. This is going to be agonizing. Oh, I can't do it. So bad. No. Oh, that was delicious. Dawny Harvey, I'm definitely thicker. No, you're not. You're not as thick as a doorknob. When does the NHS have time to do IQ tests? When you've got COVID? Yeah, you're not wrong. Revealed the vet fat cats making millions from your fact. This was big on the radio yesterday, and this is really important. I'm not a big fan of Tom Swarbrick, but he was talking about it, and he was outraged. Veterinary fat cats are pocketing more than 500,000 a year, living in sprawling. This is, there needs to be regulation for funeral directors. There needs to be regulation for the arbitrary pricing of procedures by vets. And I'm telling you right now, vets do this. They hit you with a crucial, critical moment. It's not to say it's not necessarily true. And they also sometimes don't give you enough time to contact your insurance people before you've been committed to the costs. And when you look at the small print of the insurance policies, often they won't pay out unless you've pre-approached them and pre-cleared it. And dentists, Caroline, absolutely. This is the Wild West. You can go to one place, it'll be this amount, a consultation where they basically do what you do with your dog on the couch every night, which is play with it, fiddle with its teeth, look at its paws. Some places it's 80 quid, some places 100. It is an absolute racket, and it's predicated. I hate to say it. I think the people who are exploited the most are older carers or owners of pets, like my nan used to be, with their cat, for whom their main company is their pet. I dread to. It's like mugging pensioners, but it's like mugging also families with kids. I'm sure. I bet you any money vets see just the pound signs of an old person with an animal or a family with a child. So if you walk into a vet with a child, my advice is don't walk into a vet with your pet and your child. Or if you're old, Get someone younger in the family, take them in. This is a terrible piece of advice, but I'm telling you right now, I think the psychology of how vets work, Edward Bevington, trade in death in the UK is high. Absolutely. It's bad. It's bad. So, some people charge, you come up with a fee. It's like they arbitrarily, I think at the very least, there should be some kind of organization or trade body or regulatory body that says this is the pay scale. Admittedly, sort of saying, say, dental care, you can't pay more than this, and it's more than likely going to be in this reach. I mean, the problem with even having a pay scale is how many of them are just going to hit the top end all the time. Absolutely outrageous. But weirdly, interestingly, did you know that the job of the vet, the job that has the highest rate of depression, or one of the highest rates of depression, is being a vet? Okay, sorry. House of Hannah has just we'll check in a mo. My cat's hypothyroidism cost me £3,000 for one injection, Alley Cat. You're joking. You're joking. Oh my God. Oh, look at this. Yeah. Brett Weiner. Hi, Brett. NHS does not have any appointments for anyone unless it's for administering COVID vaccinations that they receive £15 per one administered. Yeah. Good ship. Cassar. Good ship. That's a total rip-off. Oh, I haven't seen yours. I have a chi, and it's cost me £300 for him to have teeth cleaned and taken out if need be. Good ship lollipop. 1,300 quid for 2 teeth taken out for a chihuahua last week. Poor dog will have to. My God. You have to shop around with vets. Don't just go to the nearest one, says Cassar. But you just, I don't know. Every Woman and a Ghost of History wins place on the Fourth Plinth for any art lovers. This is the Fourth Plinth in Trafalgar Square, where they plonk a work of public artwork. The last one, I think, was an ice cream cone with a drone on it. There was a novelty to it, but I didn't like it. So the next two, this one is, I quite like the look of this one. Untitled it is, but it basically, essentially, beneath that there's a person riding a horse. I think that will be quite amazing when the sunlight flies through it. And then this one here, which I think is going to be the next one on display from 2026. This is Lady in Blue, a sort of every woman by the artist, I don't know if I'm pronouncing her name correctly, Chabalala Self. And the other one there is by Andra Suter. I mean, they do become sort of tourist attractions, so there'll be lots of photos taken. I think it's great to have a striding black woman in blue to mark, and hopefully she'll be heading. They'll put her on the plinth so that she's heading towards Whitehall, marching to Parliament to look after Dian Abbott. Mushrooms for tampons. What's your oddest online supermarket swap? If they don't have something available, they'll try and put something else in it. So there's many cases of things like, if they don't have cheese and onion crisps, they send you onions and cheese. I mean, obviously there's an algorithmic AI thing looking at your shopping list and kind of goes, oh, right, let's put that in there. But I can't work out what the connection between mushrooms and tampons is. Mushrooms in place of tampons, frozen pizza substituted for tinned peaches, cream crackers instead of Christmas crackers. You can see what I'm saying here. These are among the supermarket substitutes reported by online shoppers. Just over a third of online grocery shoppers reported having received a substitution in their last shop. After a while, nothing works, does it? Nothing works, really. It all just falls apart. What's this next headline? McDonald's hit by technology outage in UK. Oh, God, I bet people are panicking. Restaurants all over the UK, Australia, Japan, China were hit by a cybersecurity attack. So basically, the Russians managed to jam the defense minister's flight, and at the same time jammed McDonald's. I feel the hand of Putin here. He didn't want us to have Big Macs for a day. It's kind of one way of kind of getting to us, I guess. Stop McDonald's. Disney fuels trend for ear-cropping dogs. Is this true? Children's and celebrity trends are making people think that it's acceptable to crop their dog's ears. Neil Hudson, a Conservative MP, said yesterday, the bill is going to make it illegal to bring puppies and kittens younger than 6 months into the country. I think that's a good idea. I think we have too many pets already that aren't in homes. But there's also the suggestion that the media encourages these kind of distortions of dogs. I mean, I hate to say it, I mean, I saw a Weimar the other day with a really odd sort of stubby tail. I think tail docking is cruel, don't you? I think tail docking is cruel. I mean, the poor old pug. The reason a pug looks so fucking alarmed is due to sort of years and years and years, isn't it, of essential kind of genetic programming. If there's anything going to cause a revolution in this country, this is it. Hot and cross aficionados in bun fight over Easter treat. Critics berate supermarket giants for recommending cream and jam. Hang on a minute. Cream and jam on a hot cross bun. I don't even like my hot cross buns toasted. Discuss. Tell me how you like your hot cross buns, guys. It's an important chat. I didn't realise Easter's like in a week. Oh my God, YTUs, that's a good question. I wonder if dogs who have docked tails suffer from phantom limb syndrome. Or do you think they've been genetically modified for so many years they don't? I know what you mean. It's a good question. So when they wag that stump in their head, they're just flapping away at the world. Elsa Pop, I just like hot cross bun cold with butter. I like a wedge of butter. Salty butter, Rachel Mason, absolutely right. Straight out the packet, Claire Hemming. Nadia just chews the corner. You know, you got the cross. I will go and I'll think, we've got hot cross buns. I'll open it and some little minky moo cow has been in there and not taken the whole thing, but has because I don't know if you find this. I find that with a hot cross bun, the whole bun is never enough, right? Do you find that? You've got to have a second one. I do. It's my issue. But when you go to one and there's literally 3/4 of one, which there often is, and always is, in fact, because of Nads, it's destroyed. I can't do it. I won't do it. But I can't eat them just straight out. Cheesy ones are amazing, Snowdrop says. Are they? Welcome to the man family. Chopping any body part off is wrong and disgusting even on humans. You know what I mean? I agree. But what do you think about chopping 1/4 of a hot cross bun? Anyway, this is the idea that lots of adverts are saying, do more with it. And what I hate about this is basically them trying to find more ways to sell more fucking buns. It's like, God almighty, can't we just have what we have? Does it have to be upgraded and upcycled? Do we have to turn it into something it isn't, which is a scone? Sod off. Sharp rise in number of... I've got a lot of pet stories because I know you love your dogs and pets, sweeties. Sweet. Where did that come from? Sharp rise in number of abandoned French bulldogs. Look at him. Look at his little perky face. He's like, why are my ears like this? They're not meant to be. They may be lauded in the show ring, adored by celebrities, but the number of French bulldogs being abandoned has risen sharply. Why? Why more French bulldogs than anything else? Do they have smelly breath? I think it's probably because they became such a fashion accessory for a while. There's simply more of them in the market. Do you agree? They're seriously sweet, though. Seriously sweet. Loads of butter, toasted or not, says Julie Everts. Oh, don't. Bless them, says Anna Marie Shellard. I know, poor dogs. I agree, Cloda Egan. Anna Charalumbus, have they gone smaller with the prices going up like everything else? What, French bulldogs? No, you're talking about hot cross buns, aren't you? Another cost of Brexit, poor dog. Absolutely, totally agree. Frenchies suffer bad gut problems and breathing problems, do they, Dodo? Oh, no. Again, through breeding, right? Through breeding. Terrible. Silver lining to soggy winter. Sales of umbrellas have gone through the roof. If you saw our two go wild in Oxford, we went shopping for an umbrella. Nadia finally got one in next. I like it. I have to say, I do like an umbrella with a wooden handle. There's something quite sort of debonair, isn't there? Something quite Colin Firth, the Kingsman, about it. And I mean, you can't help. I mean, I don't know if this is a male thing, but as soon as you've got an umbrella with a handle like that, my granddad had one. You can't help but swing it around, can you? You just got to swing it. And then, of course, you do that stupid thing. If you're a dad, where do you remember in the 70s, they used to have someone on a stage and then this great long, what would you call it? Handle, sort of hook or curved thing would pull them off. Anyway, the wet, soggy winter has led to a record bumper sale of umbrellas. But also what I like is it's also led to an increase in ducks. I like that. I have to confess, you know what? I like a duck. I like them to eat as well. In fact, I don't know if I do anymore. Do you like ducks? I really like ducks. They're quite angry though. They're quite angry. I don't want to tell you. In fact, I know a detail about mallards that isn't pleasant, which I'm not going to tell you. Who's this? Pierce Brosnan. What a hirsute man. Fabulous head of hair. Fabulous face of hair. And I don't know. This is a curious story about him essentially going off limits and being fined for wandering around and dipping in the wrong part of the... I don't think you're allowed in the thermal springs of Yellowstone Park. And he's been fined for it. But I think the bigger story here is his hairy chest. But also the fact that he has hair just under his... just on his ribcage. This man. What a man. How old is he? He's 60-something. He looks good. Isn't that interesting how they don't share his age in it, but if it was a woman, they would. Wim Hof, Brosnan in hot water, fined for going off limits in Yellowstone Park. He took part in the court hearing by phone, was fined $500. He was also ordered to donate $1,000 to Yellowstone Forever. He said, "I deeply regret my transgression, but I'm incredibly proud of my chest hair. I'm sure you'd all agree, my hair looks great undyed." He didn't really say that. "Devilishly handsome," says Sharon Wilson. Let's pop that up so you can take a screenshot of your name, your voice, your words across his chest. Well, actually across his crotch, but I'm sure you won't mind that. Quick fix. Caring mechanic Bruce repairs injured seagull. I love this. He's a dab hand at getting broken cars back on the road, but he also managed to get a broken winged seagull back on the road. Do I like seagulls? I don't know if I like seagulls as much as I like ducks. I like a black-headed seagull. They're quite sort of quaint, aren't they? I like those. But there you go. He looks like he's hurt his hand, doesn't he, Bruce, the mechanic? He says customers love to see her. He keeps her in the sort of garage. She has a personality, he says. When I'm sitting in the chair in the workshop area, she'll come over and sit on the jack close to me or peck my feet. Sweet. This is your pilot peeking. Naughty pilot looking at smut. When the door to the cockpit gives new meaning to the word cockpit, doesn't it? When the door to the cockpit opened on a long-haul flight to China, the person travelling saw the pilot looking at some soft porn. The airline apologised to a passenger, British Airways, who said he saw him viewing pics. Careful what you're looking at. Now, I pulled this one because I like the attempt at a funny headline. Feeling Malot happier. Feeling Malot happier. Or feeling Merlot happier. Doesn't work, does it? Drinking good wine really does make you feel happier. Dina, you're onto something, I think. Not if you're an alcoholic, though. Drinking good wine is a route to total devastation. A quality vino was found to trigger a spectrum. Listen to this. A quality wine, which usually means just an expensive one. Do normal people, do us normal civilians, do we really know the difference between a good wine and a bad wine? We know when it tastes rancid and we know when it tastes fruity, but that's it. That's it. So here they say a quality vino triggers a spectrum of positive emotions. As I say, not if you're an alcoholic. Shower of love. I'm going to have to talk to Nads about this. Singing duets in bathroom makes couples stronger. I ate a packet of Pringles in Reading or Oxford, and it made me stronger, actually. I felt stronger. Singing in the shower with your partner can wash away relationship worries. I don't think I've ever had a shower with Nads, actually, and I feel like I've missed out. Now, I'm going to show you the front page of the Daily Star, just because it's just one of those headlines. I bet they were chuckling away at the Daily Star when they did this. Mystery of the rampant beavers. Could almost be a description of loose women. Mystery of the rampant beavers. Damned. look at that subtitle. Damned if we know how they got here. Unexpected beavers in Cornwall. They just keep popping up. Beavers just keep coming out. If you're listening, you're wondering what the hell I'm talking about, but I'm talking about actual furry beavers. It's not making it any clearer if you're listening. We're talking about the animal. We're talking about, I think we've got the idea. Messy sheets beat beasts. Bugs love tidy beds, a bit like nits love clean hair. Making your bed in the morning could actually be bad for your health. There you go. That's all we need to hear. We don't need much of a justification. Don't need much of a headline. Boom, done. Gen Z getting a bun fight. This is the same story. Fuck that. We don't want savoury, bloody hot cross buns. Leave our buns alone. Give up the ghost bots. AI relatives a bad idea, says Boffin. Not surprising. Resurrecting dead loved ones as ghost bots could cause more harm than good. Psychotherapy expert Nigel Mulligan fears they might go rogue and tell mourners to join them in death or that they weren't loved. That is bloody dark. And for those of you listening, this is your favourite part of this podcast, pictures. Here you go. This is... a photograph, and bonking Brits love to swing. Apparently swinging is natural and normal and no longer just for pampas grass planting middle-aged folk. I don't know if I agree. But look at that photograph at the top. Isn't that beautiful? Between the 11th and 13th centuries, the Bagan Kingdom in modern-day Myanmar built more than 10,000 Buddhist temples. I feel somehow that headline is a bit disrespectful, so I'll move on. Here's a young chap, one of the thousands of Dragon Ball fans. Manga anime, who gathered in Buenos Aires to say goodbye to its creator, Akira Toriyama, who died earlier this month. Fabulous hair there. This is a photograph we popped on the members area. We're going to see what your funny, arty titles are for it. This is one of the wildlife photos of the year. Quite something, isn't it? Look at that. Ryan Stalker took this. He is the grand prize winner of the British Wildlife Photograph Awards. Barnacles attached to an abandoned football. Makes you wonder how long that football has been in there, doesn't it? It's quite an image. And look, you all love your rhinos, don't you? Here's a rhino. Look at him. Whipsnade Zoo celebrating the birth of a southern white rhino to its mum Jasira and father Sizzle after 16 months gestation. Oh, I wonder if they need a babysitter so they can head out and have a horny time. That's your lot, guys. That's your Saturday papers. There is no coffee. There is Coffee Man. It's just happened. There's no Curly Cooks today. The Curly Cooks are going to be happening on Tuesday evening. There's a different time for this weekend, and then there'll be a Curly Cooks again next Saturday. Have a lovely day, guys. Go and enjoy all of the content that's landing. There's silliness, the hijinks in Oxford, Nadia topless, eating donuts, pulling donuts, squeezing donuts. It's just total donut fest. But anyway, enjoy your day and...